Dark. All I see is
There.
black. Oh,
Hey, what's up? What up, Internet Land?
Thought I was
See,
an
we
EMP.
had a smooth transition from one intro to the other, and then I pooped, and then it was great. It was great. So what up, Phil? How's Alaska today?
Oh, I don't know. I've been outside.
Oh,
Hot. It's hot. My air conditioning's on.
dude, if it gets over
Like
45, you're hot.
46. Yeah.
40. What did I just say? That's awesome. It's if it gets over 45, you're hot. Oh, it's 46.
Yeah. It's pretty ridiculous.
Vitamin
over the
water.
top.
Not a sponsor. I mean, they can if they want, but they're not. Sugar-free for all of you people who are tracking my business out there. Oh, you know what? I need to share this with the other
Socialist water.
Socialist water probably is. I keep saying
Pellegrino.
Stop giving money to people who hate you, whatever. Boom, bang, bang, bomb, boop, bop,
Yeah, well,
bing, bop,
we diluted
bang.
a whole generation of Italians with some American blood. So we could drink their water.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Let's do it. Okay. So we got the Facebook pages, have links on them. Did you get a link out to Patreon land?
Yep.
Sweet. All right. So hopefully people are going to see this. So we still have a broken Restreamer because evidently Restream doesn't like to respond to their tickets. But anyway, so we can only broadcast to one place. So this week we're trying to broadcast to YouTube, and then we shared the links over to the Facebook accounts and to the Patreon, which, by the way, thank you, Patreon members. We appreciate you very much. I still can't get into Patreon to get our addresses to send you your gifts. Your gifts actually got bigger this week, though. I bought because I felt so bad that the bracelets didn't get out to people. I got another gift that's going in the envelope with it. So
I ordered something today too.
What'd you order?
Magnets.
TPPB magnets.
Yeah.
That's
Deal of the day and sticker mule. I couldn't resist.
Oh, that's cool. That's great. Okay. So we have not been nuked. We have not been EMP'd into oblivion. There are some developments. Things are looking pretty awful right now. And they have been. We're entering into week 6 of the Russia-Ukraine craziness. We have an idiot in the White House that is saying dumb crap that is going to drag us into a world war. We got lots to talk about tonight.
So nothing changed this week.
Nothing. Yeah, it got worse. That's what changed. So yeah, what has been happening? Give us an update as far as life in the Great Land.
Let's see. Well, I just continue to scour the internet for deals on things that I think I'm going to need or use in the next 2 years.
Right.
Before prices, I think I've just about gotten to the end of the canned meats. The last good deal for canned meats I have now cost $1 a can more than they did last Friday. So I think we're probably done. I'll just keep watching, but we probably won't keep sourcing. I've depleted all of my local sources. They no longer have affordable things at those prices. And what else? That's kind of it. I got a couple 100 pounds of a couple different things this week, and most of them have showed up.
Nice.
I think now that I've got all the orders I need in, and you just did you click
no?
Go
I need to hit order. I'm gonna hit order before you say before we talk about it, because I'm gonna get my tube before
now, and you better have finished clicking by the time I get to it.
Oh man. Okay.
The race is on. So we discovered a glitch in the Matrix this week.
We did. We found a glitch.
It was actually
Phil found
about
a
a week
glitch
and a half ago because I scour. So I'll give you the where at the end, but essentially I was just scrolling through looking at gas cans, and I came across something that was mislabeled, and I decided to take a chance.
Tell us why. Tell us why the real label is so significant.
I don't know. What do you mean?
Well, tell us about the brand and what it is, and then tell the people why it matters.
Okay. Well, I don't know. It matters to buy quality stuff
That's it.
because,
That's what I was going
uh,
for.
and essentially, yeah. So I saw something that was mislabeled from a retailer that's not known for having quality name brand things, um, and the price was just a normal price, I think. But they had availability, which is not something we've seen in for me 2 years. Um, for me though, the price is actually a good price, and I can't get anyone to ship me these things normally. The manufacturer won't ship them to me.
Right.
But as I was scrolling through, so we're talking fuel storage cans, and people will start to catch on there. I saw a label and a description that did not match the picture. The picture was the name brand Wavian items, right? Wavian
Right.
5-gallon, 20-liter fuel cans, NATO. And I saw the components of the Wavian can that make it a NATO can. Significance of that being they're built to a slightly higher standard and
And they
quality
don't
in
have
their
the
line.
stupid California compliant nozzle.
They have a they have a version of it. Um, and I think it's actually their old version that failed the first time. But the deal is you can buy Wavian clip on. So it still has the Wavian O-ring with the two-prong finger NATO
Right.
style
Right.
funnel thing. They just have like an EPA version of that on there. And I haven't tried it yet to see whether that leaks or doesn't leak. It actually looks like it's made of quality stuff. It may or may not. But you can buy the normal fuel nozzles
Right.
pretty readily. And you don't even have to
Well,
use a fuel
and you can
nozzle
go to
depending on your setting.
wavianusa.com and you can get the regular fuel nozzles
Can
from
you?
them too.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Um,
Those
I
were
don't
in
know if I
stock when
will
I
or
looked.
won't. I'm a pretty big fan of the little electric transfer pumps. I
Yeah,
use those in all my cans.
those are pretty great. I think you got to have at least one good one just in case your batteries go dead or
Sure.
gets pooped by an EMP or something like that.
I forgot and left mine outside, so I know that it does well in the cold. Mine's still kicking. Didn't even bust the batteries or anything.
Oh, okay. Cool,
Um,
cool, cool.
yeah, so good things. Anyway, so I took a chance and I ordered. The price at the time I ordered was $92 and a little bit of change. And so for anybody who keeps track, I know there are sources in lower 49 that you can get Wavy and branded actual NATO fuel cans for less than $92. I
Only
can't.
slightly.
They're well over $100 here
Correct.
if you can find them again. And
Correct.
that's the real big key here. If you can find them, and Amazon is a tough one to trust because there's pictures of name branded things and descriptions of name branded things, and then you don't get the name branded thing. Um,
Right.
Amazon's a hard one to trust when it comes to these things. Ever since Cody at Wrangler Star started shilling these about 2 years ago,
Yeah.
they have been nearly unobtainium in our country.
Yes.
I don't know that he's the one responsible, but he certainly helped uh, kill that community because at the time I think
Right.
they were about $65. Um,
Yeah, they were. They were about $65 to $70 depending, and then they went berserkoid.
yep,
And I am
and then they just
desperately trying to
can't
get
get them.
my. For some reason, Walmart will not accept my
Won't let you check
PayPal.
out. Well, I just bought 2 more a couple hours ago, so
And I slipped and just said where I was at. So you guys can get to shopping.
ah, there it is.
There it is.
So,
There it
well,
is.
but here's the deal: you have to know what to search for because if you search for Wavion,
You will not find
you
it.
won't find it.
So we'll tell them. We'll tell them that in just a second here. So,
All right,
but no, this is a
pretty soon, guys.
really good deal, and you have actually received them. You
I have
know
one
that
in
it's
hand. It showed up
true.
today.
Did you bring
It
it?
has the branding, the marks. It's in the other room.
Go get
Um,
it. Go get it. Let's show it. People may not know what we're talking about.
really?
Yes,
I
let's
don't
see
know
the
that they do
features.
that.
Come on, man. You got it there. Go grab it. Go grab it. Come on.
I don't have the ability to camera swap here, but I will make an
Yeah, we'll
attempt to
just look
make
at
this
your
happen
background.
here.
We'll just look at your background. It's cool. No problem.
Oh no, no, no! What are you talking about? I don't run. Do you not have a child? Have you not discovered this thing yet? So there's this little device here, and I'm going to send some words, and
Okay.
then it's going to show up here.
Ah,
You
there
watch.
you go. Bring fuel can, child. Well, I don't. I
Yeah.
don't keep my child at my office. That's the difference. See, I don't
Oh,
have
well, you should start. An office child's very useful.
office. Office child is very useful. Hey, we switched sides. What happened here? Hold on a second.
You. I don't know.
Doink. There we go. I fixed it. You're supposed to be on the left. You're the important one.
Oh, sure. Not true.
I feel like my VPN is messing me up here.
Oh.
Do you guys run a VPN when you're out there searching and shopping and doing the things? You should be. We don't have a sponsor, so I'm not going to recommend one, but there are a handful of good ones out there. You should be using a VPN for sure.
I have 3, 2 are paid. I don't run them if I'm shopping Amazon or Walmart or Fred Meyer or like a name brand using their apps.
Right.
Because you're all logged in with your personal information on those anyway.
Yeah, but if someone's
creeping
on you,
too many problems. So look at this.
Yeah.
That was really quick too. Thank you, sir. Well done.
All right, show this bad boy off. Oh, it's gonna show up as gray, or it's gonna look like in the background.
So it's a green can, and I got a green screen.
Right.
Can you see? All right.
We can. I can see. It's wonderful.
So
Wavian.
Right. So it is welded in a split seam. And I have checked the weld. And now I have not filled it full of anything yet. Here is the spout. So it does have this push US EPA push crap.
Oh, it does have the sucky one. Okay, never mind.
It has a screw in it, so I wonder if it's able to be disassembled. But it attaches using the same fork method as all Wavian cans.
Yes.
So the important part is that is intact on the can.
Right.
So you can use the old style, rest of the world style cans, but it has all the proper part numbers stamped. It is fully welded, and the handles, top and bottom, it does all the things that you look for in the fake ones.
Yeah.
It does not have. So I believe it to be genuine.
Well, the fact that you've checked, you've got it in hand, that's why I am dropping my information in as we speak and buying this thing.
Yeah, so I picked up a couple more once this one came. And so what's important for me is if I was to buy this somewhere else, the price might still be something similar, but if they would even ship it, the shipping costs would be quite large. And FedEx brought this to my office door in 4 business days for free because Walmart is trying very hard to push Amazon off their internet pedestal.
Correct.
If you hear that squeaking, it's just my primary carry, my secondary firearm on my hip.
Okay.
Here, I'll flash it, see if we can get kicked off YouTube real quick.
That'll be great. Well, we're not monetizing, so we can show what we want on YouTube for the most part. All right.
Yeah, we are not getting kickbacks from Walmart or Wavian, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
Wish we could.
Sure wish we
could. So these are expensive, and the reason you buy these is the old red jerry cans. They're just they're a little more prone to the heat expansion, bursting, leaking. These are our tried and true proven.
And the old ones are not lined. See, they coat the inside of these so that there's less chance for rust. Yeah, the new Wavian.
I don't have any old metal cans though. Do you?
I don't. I do have a couple of old metal ones, and they got rusty and nasty, and I'm just gonna throw them away.
Yeah, you should. So these have a liner, but that still doesn't mean that you should treat them. It's still a metal can. You store these either totally full or totally empty, and it's better to store them totally full. You're better off filling it up with water if you can't fill it with fuel,
right?
Than to have it partially full or empty.
Absolutely.
To keep them from rusting, you want to keep them full.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a big deal. But ultimately, in the day and age in which we live, you should have them full. Like they should be full of fuel. Like right now.
You use them because you need them, and then you refill them. and
There
put
is
them back.
There is a chance. Okay, so let's jumping into current events. Okay, there is a chance we're going to see a small drop in fuel prices. I guess Bobo has decided to release like 100 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Oil Reserve.
I don't agree with that. Bad
I don't
idea.
agree with it either. I think it's absolute total mismanagement. It is 100% foolish. What it's going to do is it's just going to prop up a bubble, and it's only going to be for a very short amount of time. It doesn't last. So yeah, it's really super bad. But anyway, so we'll see a little dip in fuel price. Okay. So I'm still not like panicking that I spent $5.28 a gallon to buy 300 gallons of fuel a few weeks ago. But especially considering, did you see the price of diesel in California this week?
I don't look at the price of anything in California.
Places part of current events that I wanted to talk about tonight anyway. $10 a gallon.
It's hard for me not to like cheer a little bit because so many of them are responsible for what has happened in our country, that if it costs them $10 a gallon, I'm just going to have to repent about my thoughts.
Correct. No, I totally agree. It's like you brought this on yourself.
Screw you guys. You did this to all of us because
right.
You're stupid, and we told you, and you did it anyway because you're spoiled children to do what you want. Damn the consequences to all of us.
Exactly. So
you get mad. I'm not. Face.
I'm not stressing out that I stockpiled 300 gallons of diesel.
No.
Because I think we're still going to be buried. I think we could still be seeing national $7 a gallon fuel by June or July.
Well, that's what everybody says. Yeah.
So we've got some really, really ugly stuff. So I'd love for people to start telling us in the comment section what's your local fuel prices look like where you are. Tell us where you are, and tell us where you are and tell us what you're paying for fuel. I'd love to hear about it. You don't have to tell us if you're like don't want people to know what.
By all means, tell us your address and how many hundreds of gallons you have.
Yeah, exactly. And where exactly you keep it on the property.
I'm only interested if it's diesel.
Right.
And all that gas you guys have in Oregon where you guys are stupid and put corn in it. Who cares?
Oh gosh.
Nobody wants that.
Ethanol is such a freaking scam. Unless I'm making it myself in a still.
A bunch of politicians are making bank on it.
Well, they're making money, baby. Making money.
Yep.
So, no, we got some interesting things. Did you see the reports out of Ukraine today?
No.
Ukraine has launched its first offensive into Russian space.
Space?
Into Russian zone. Into Russia. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right.
Into space?
Pee on the border or something?
Nope. They launched a low-flying attack helicopter into Russia. There's a little bit of a debate on distance in. They either went about 22 miles or 40 miles, and it was really they blew up a gigantic fuel depot about 30 to 40 miles into Russia.
That's strategery.
Yeah,
that's a good move. Good for them.
Right. All right. So Wesley says he's driving a 93 Dodge Cummins filled once a month right now for $5.19. Okay. So we saw a little drop. And Meg, hey Meg, Patreon member, awesomeness there. She says she's been traveling, so can help with this. In March, Redmond highest at $4.99, lowest $4.69. Not a big spread there, Meg. That's it's pretty much stinks all across the board. And in White City, $4.79. These are best of memory, but close. Okay, yeah. So I believe Meg's buying gas, not diesel. So thanks Wes for the diesel. Thanks Meg for the quotes on gasoline. It's been bananas. I had to fill up. I got that extended range tank. Oh, Meg's still bringing in numbers. Thanks, Meg. Albany highest is $4.59, lowest is $4.39. You got it good over in Albany. Send some of me the Albany gas over here, man. This is The Columbia River Gorge, I paid $127 for a full tank of fuel. I've got a big 33 or 32 or 34 gallon tank. It's yeah. At least I'm running a flex fuel truck now, so I can put the regular in there. I on all the Toyotas I was running mid grade.
Oh yeah.
So all the fun. Thanks you guys for the
Yeah.
gas numbers. That's way helpful. So yeah, back to the fuel depot. Russia's been flaunting their gas privilege. They've been showing uber cheap per gallon gas to the rest of the world, going nanny boo boo. So we got cheap gas. And now they lost a major fuel depot today. The Ukrainians launched a first offensive into Russia. Maybe. Because reports out of Russia are saying that it is galvanizing the Russian people, where a lot of Russia was like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? What is going on? Now it sounds like they're going, send everything we've got, take that whole country down. And it's like, yee. So this very well could have been a false flag.
That the Doolittle raid has.
That's right. But
it's moralizing at the home front, but it certainly solidifies the end of peace talks.
It absolutely could have been a false flag. It absolutely could have been Russia attacking Russia, going, hey, let's make everybody crazy.
Let's admit that Russia does have a tendency to accidentally blow up their own stuff and blame it on somebody else.
Once in a great while.
Well, who knows?
Who knows? So, but ultimately, we have lived another week. Praise God. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it, right? That makes me happy. Gives you another day to grow food in the ground. Gives you another day to source. So I hope you guys are growing gardens. I hope your backyards.
I hope you guys are buying it. Yep.
I hope your gardens are just going crazy. And yes, you need to be buying wheat. Let's talk about wheat. Wheat. Russia.
Wheat, stone, sheep.
What? Yeah. Russia and Ukraine put together produce almost 15% of the world's consumed wheat. Ukraine produces nearly all of Egypt's wheat. They almost exclusively only buy wheat from the Ukraine. These countries are going to be hurting, guys. They're going to get grumpy.
If I was a farmer, I'd be looking at what it would look like to grow wheat this year.
Yes.
And if you are a prepper like us, you should be looking at how many wheat berries can I buy right now?
How many wheat berries?
I got another 100 pounds this week.
So I would tell you that based on a lot of research this week, you can still buy wheat berries on Amazon. Okay.
But the prices are still going up.
The prices are going up. Let's
gone up in the last 2 weeks.
Let's pull up some Amazon numbers here.
I like to buy those guys in Washington. I'm talking about?
Yes, I do, and we will talk about them because they'll be here on Amazon. So
Walmart also sells them.
Oh, really?
And the price fluctuates back and forth between
who's the best price?
Which one's better? Correct.
Okay, so let me. Oh gosh, it has gone up. Let's do a screen share. Okay, so what happened to you? Where'd you go? I lost you. Where'd you go, Phil? Oh, we lost Phil. He died. Phil died. He'll be back. He'll call back in when he finds out that he's gone. All right, everybody. So let's talk a little bit about Amazon shopping in the jungle here. Okay. So we will jump back to a screen share. There we go. Just like that. There's Phil. Hey, buddy. We lost you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
That was really weird. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
So we have this is I don't know how to say their name. Brand
Palus.
I
think it's a
Washington-based company.
Washington
not
company. Good
terribly
company.
far
I've been
for
buying
where.
bulk from them for about 2 to 3 years now.
So this looks to be, this is already up about $10 to $12 than it was a week ago. So this is a 25-pound bag of, we've got, oh, excuse me, I apologize. We've got hard white wheat berries, family farmed in Washington, 100% desiccant free, 25 pounds,
They're very organic.
$52.
Yeah, they're good
Yep.
family.
They don't use Roundup to. So a lot
Right.
of you may not know this, but a lot of the major wheat producers, they spray they don't want to have to wait to harvest their wheat. So the middle of the field always ripens last, and wheat has to die for it to ripen. Okay, I live in the wheat belt of Oregon, so I'm learning. I've learned a lot in the last 4.5 years about how wheat is processed. Okay, so a lot of the big manufacturers, they spray Roundup, they fly and they spray Roundup over the whole field, kill all of it all at once. So that they can let it die, let it dry, and then they can harvest all of the wheat berries. So when it says no, desiccant free, that means they harvest their fields in stages. It takes them longer, it's more costly, but it's healthier for you and I. Fun fact: the only industry in America that refuses to buy wheat that has a trace of Roundup in it. In fact, if they find a trace of Roundup in the wheat, you will never sell to that entire industry all again. You'll be completely blackballed. Is the beer industry? Beer is very, very strict on
Kill the yeast. Yeah.
on that. It'll kill the yeast. That's exactly right. So even nanograms of the substance. So when it says desiccant free, that's a really big deal. Okay, it's worth paying more for that. All right, but as you can see, the hard red winter wheat berries, which is one of your favorites, right, Phil?
Yeah, I got some last year, and I just recently started buying in the 25-pound bags. I like to buy the 3-pack of 5-pound because I love the burlap sacks.
Oh,
Uh,
very cool. Okay,
they're a
okay.
perfect size, and I reuse them over and over and over and over.
So here's
So
a
I don't know if I can compare there. See if you can find what is hard red spring wheat berries in the 3-pack of 5-pound burlap bags.
let's see what we can find.
Because I bought 6 of those a year and a half ago for $36.
Okay.
Give you an idea.
I'll say this: the one that's currently on the right, this hard red wheat berry 25-pound bucket,
Wheatland?
that would be. It doesn't say desiccant free, so be advised, but it is coming in a Mylar lined bucket, 25 pounds for $69. So if that's worth it to you, I would prefer to Mylar it myself, put it in my own bag, my own bucket.
I have
So
cold, dry storage, so I
right,
have not rebagged any of mine. They are stacked in cold, dry storage.
okay. Even you didn't even rebag it from the burlap.
Nope, nope.
Okay.
That's why I like the burlap because it's a slightly lined burlap as opposed to
Oh,
these
it's got that
polymer
ventilated.
bags I don't like. Yeah,
Okay. I am not seeing, I know
I don't.
exactly
Well,
what
there's
you were
a
talking about.
right there. So on your, I think it's your right-hand side, you see the burlap bag.
Oh, there it is. Okay. There's 5-pound bags.
But I don't know if that's a 3-pack, but it doesn't matter. I mean, 2 of those is what I bought 6 of those for.
Right. Good gravy. Oh, I think I
There's a
found it.
3-pack.
Oh, it's a soft, which is fine. It's still good. It just doesn't last quite as long as the hard red.
So last year, I bought a bunch of those about 6 months ago, and that's about $3 to $4 more than I
Okay.
paid.
Okay.
So that's not a huge increase.
So I will say this: this is worth you checking out.
Availability. Get them
If you've
now.
never been to Azure Standard, you hear about it a lot if you watch any of the homesteading channels on YouTube. A lot of them spend a lot of money with Azure. Okay.
Okay.
So, but we just ordered this week. We ordered about 100 pounds of wheat berries. We don't want sprouted wheat berries. We want hard
But
red wheat
all of the
berries.
high-use ones will sprout if you decide to
Yes.
do that.
Yeah, they will. They will sprout. And then that's really healthy for you eating sprouts. Like eat the sprouts. It's a great way to go. All right, so let's look at view options. And I will say that Azure only sends out really, really super high quality stuff. Okay, so we're talking, they're going to be desking for you. Get 2,000 pounds for $1,000. So if you got a whole bunch of friends that wanted to go in on it, like this might not be a bad purchase for the church. Like we could buy like a pallet load in a big grain bag.
If you had the proper way to store it.
Well, I mean, we would just have to get it and divide it up immediately. This would, if everybody in the church was wanting to go in on something like that, that's a really good, I mean, obviously buying in bulk like that is a good way to go.
52 cents a pound?
52 cents a pound versus 75 cents a pound in the 50-pound bag.
I'd do that.
Versus 99 cents a pound in the 5-pound bag. So, I mean, that's a tremendous savings, at that point. But I know that we just spent, I think, $200 on wheat berries. We bought a little bit of everything. We bought some hard white, some soft white. Einkorn is the most expensive, and it's very fancy and super tasty. And then we also bought some hard. But I want you guys to pay attention to something. Are you guys noticing something about this website? Out of stock.
Yeah, you can't get them.
Out of stock. Now, available April 6th. Now, you can order it through Azure. If it says available April 6th, they mean it.
Pre-order.
So they're very, very reliable. So our order will come to a local drop-off on April 6th, or we could actually drive out there. It's just about 2 towns over for us to go to the Azure warehouse. But once a week down at the Ace Hardware or something, the semi pulls up and you just show up and get your order. So we got a couple hundred pounds of wheat berries. But hey, guys, you can't just buy wheat berries. You got to be able to do something with it. So get the wheat berries, and then you can start shopping for grain mill, because grain mill right now are easier to come by than the wheat berries. So just pay attention.
Well, and that ebbs and flows. The reality is we were able to get some cheaper ones, the high quality, like Harvest Right. Some of those other ones are really been hard to get for a while.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
The ones that are $400, $500, $600, $900. What's those ones? Yeah.
Yeah. So just pay real close attention to it, guys. And here's the nice thing about wheat berries. If we haven't already said it, they'll last for 50 years if you store them right.
Indefinitely.
Yeah, they are very indefinite. They have taken wheat berries out of Egyptian tombs and ground it into flour and ate it. They have taken wheat berries out of Egyptian tombs and sprouted them. So, I mean, you guys, if you store them properly. Now, if you live in a humid area, okay, Meg's over in the valley. I'm not going to out where she actually lives, but she's over in the valley. It's going to be way more humid over there. Meg's going to have to do more of a better job in putting oxygen and moisture absorbers into her Mylar bags, into her buckets, and then she's going to be protected, and that stuff's going to last and last and last and last and last. So stack your calories to the rafters. I don't even eat bread right now. Like I'm on like a whole program. And in fact, actually, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my program because I guess I am technically about to start selling it in case anybody's interested, but this is super duper rad. So my program, I'm not going to show you the brand name because I'm really not trying to pimp my own system here online, but, so I get a month of fuelings, 5 fuelings a day. And so this is wild rice, chicken soup, and this is sour cream and chives mashed potatoes.
Green screen.
Is it green screen? Shut up. There, look at the brand name. But what's rad is I got a whole box of food that all I have to do is add a little bit of water to. All I have to do is open a bar and eat it. It's got amazing shelf life. These are all aluminum lined pouches. They're really, really great. So even though I'm on a special eating plan to lose weight and be healthier and like take control of my health, and by the way, all this stuff was designed by a doctor, so it's like macros and micros and your vitamins and minerals are all made into it. I've also prepped a month of food. Like I could survive on that for a month. So every time I buy it, I'm buying a month's worth of food. Now, my program dictates that I'm supposed to make a healthy, lean and green meal at night. And by the way, Phil, I was telling you earlier, I lost 6 pounds last week. My first week on this new program, and it was the largest 1 week loss that I've had in the last 4 or 5 months, which is rad. And if things continue down that road, I will cross out of the 300-pound mark and dip into the 200 pounds range on Monday morning when I weigh in. I don't know if it's going to, I cannot wait. I'm so excited. And I want to tell you about what we're going to do. So something really special happens for me when I no longer weigh 300 pounds. And this has all been a prep, you guys. The weight journey that I have been on, it has all been a prep. There is a battle coming to this country, and I knew it, and I was not going to fight the civil war or the craziness that is about to take place in this country at 450 pounds. I was like, I'm done being fat. And then I looked at COVID, and hey, did you know that 78% of the people who died of COVID were obese with comorbidities? Oh, yeah. That's so maybe stop being a fat people, right? Stop eating things bigger than your head. Try to maybe unfat yourself a little bit. All right. So there's my Get Healthy service, right? My Get Healthy sermon. But when I no longer weigh 300 pounds, I am no longer morbidly obese. I am, according to the BMI scale, I am obese.
You mean when you're under 300 or
when I'm under 300 pounds, I am no longer morbidly obese. I am obese. We are throwing an obesity party. There's going to be cake and ice cream and pizza.
You might eat some.
I might even have a sip of beer. And we are going to throw an obesity. We are going to celebrate me becoming obese. I am so excited about that. We'll probably do it live. It'll be great. It'll be awesome. I'm so pumped. So the guys that I've been working out with, my family, we're all going to get together. We're going to eat pizza and ice cream and drink a beer. And we're going to celebrate becoming obese because I'm becoming obese backward. So anyway,
right.
That's my prep. So anyway, guys, I'm really excited because now I get a month's worth of food at a time. Like it's coming into my door and until I reach my fitness goals. So that's another way of prepping and getting healthier, which is super duper rad. You'll hear more about that later down the road. I will probably use our channel to shill my new business, my new fitness coaching business. But anyway, as Phil grins at me. So pay attention to your wheat prices. Pay attention to your the spare tire that you're carrying around your belly. I don't even eat bread right now, but eating bread is going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal. If you want pancakes, if you want cake, bread, those kinds of things, when things go to poo-poo town, and you can feed a lot of people with a loaf of bread.
You can.
Jesus taught us that.
Pancakes and peanut butter.
Pancakes and peanut butter, man. Pancakes and peanut butter.
Food and I don't buy it anymore. I used to buy the 25-pound bags of pancake mix, Krusty's pancake mix, because it was cheaper than buying flour. What's that?
It goes bad too quickly.
Does it?
Yeah, the Krusties. I don't know what they do to it. I don't know what.
I've never had one really bad. I've got some that are pretty old.
Really?
Yeah, I think it comes down to storage. Never open the bag.
Right.
Cool, dry location. And when I say cool, like the room that I keep my preps in never gets above 50 year round.
Right.
So
it's, absolutely.
Constant temperatures are important. Lack of sunlight is important. And humidity control is important. So
absolutely. All of those things are important.
So a great place to store guns. None of them rust in there.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, like I got to in my gun safe. It's humid enough even here by the river that I got to have a dehumidifier in my safe.
Yeah.
So something else you might want to look into.
You can. I mean, you just do it the old-fashioned way. You oil everything once a week or once a month. But yeah.
And the other thing is true. The other thing too is I just sold a gun safe to a buddy. And he's like, "Okay, you're gonna help me set it up in my garage?" And I'm like, "No,
don't put it in your
like that's a terrible idea. Too many temperature fluctuations.
Yep.
Causes condensation inside those big metal boxes. You guys, be careful where you put your gun safe."
Yep.
I absolutely believe in having something to secure your weapons. You should definitely.
I don't. But
well, not all of them.
I don't secure any of them, but I don't own a gun safe. I have a couple of strong boxes.
Yeah.
I do leave one in the garage for guns that I'm actively working on in there at the gunsmithing station or making holsters for.
Yeah. The ones that don't belong to you, you know.
I don't have any of those right now. But I have sleeves, so they make anti-rust sleeves.
Oh yeah, the silicone impregnated sleeves.
Whatever they are, I don't know. I think they work pretty good. I had an heirloom 22 that was nothing special except for who it came from, and it came with a little bit of pre-rust on it, which I cleaned off. But you know, once it's rusted once, it's really hard. It comes back there like right away.
It's
almost no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and it does not come back in the sleeve.
Oh,
so I mean, I oil it, put it in the sleeve, and put it away. Look at it again in 3 to 6 months, and it's not rusty.
You should post a link to the specific sleeves that you use.
They're all over the place, but I get mine from Midway.
Midway, okay.
Midway USA, which I don't love them, but they ship to me. So Brownells
for the most part. I think they're pretty good. Brownells is a little bit better in the fact that they've already told the ATF to pound sand. They'll have to basically tear the doors down and seize. Yeah.
Midway will give them whatever they want.
You think so?
Don't trust them for 2 seconds. Nope.
The nice thing is Midway's at least located in Missouri, and Missouri will fight for your gun rights because they've made it illegal in the state to enforce unconstitutional gun laws, which I'm very happy with.
So I just got a package from 5D, and if anybody's know those guys, they make the best 80% lower jig out there.
Yep.
And
love mine.
So back when everybody was freaking out about a week or two ago about the ATS changing their rules, making 80% illegal, blah blah.
Yep.
ATF's going to come and kick in everybody's door.
Yep.
I purposely made an order from 5D for some 80% lowers.
Because you're like, send the robots, snitches. Send the robots.
Using a Chase Bank credit card.
Yeah.
You're
just throwing all the flags, aren't you?
So it would arrive the first week of April.
It's a good thing you don't have a dog. It's a good thing you don't have a dog, dude. You're gonna be fine because you don't have a dog. If you had a dog, dude, they'd be kicking your door.
The dog has already bit your ass. The awesome thing about Malinois is they decide early whether they're announcing their presence or not announcing their presence, and they pick a line and they stick with it.
Yeah.
And I love the ones that tend towards the not announcing their presence because you don't know they're there until they have sunk a couple inches of teeth into your ass.
Dude, I had
it's really fun to watch too. But
I had breakfast. My first meeting today was breakfast with a good friend who will remain nameless because I don't want to embarrass him publicly. But he just got home from deployment and he's been gone for a year. And then before that, because of COVID, he was gone for most of the year before that, serving in Washington while his family was here. And he got to reestablish dominance with his German yesterday.
Oh, you have to do that. You have to do that. That's not fun either.
He had to reestablish. He's got about 10 stitches down the center side of his chin. And he had a fight with his German in the park in front of a bunch of kids and families.
Oh, that's even better.
He's doing the Homer Simpson in the middle of the park. I shouldn't laugh because that could have gone really, really badly. And the dog, to be clear, the dog did not bite him on the face. As there was
Oh,
like a wrestling match that he did not, was not submitting to a command, and there was an important command, and guy had to go hands on. During the wrestling match, the dog basically headbutted him, and a tooth kind of went up his face, and you know how facial wounds are. They bleed like like you've been stabbed in the neck, right? And so so he's like, so he's ripping his belt off and like slinging up his dog and dragging the dog back home. And yeah, anyway, needless to say,
that's something that happens with very strong working breed dogs. I do it with Doberman. I came back from being gone for, what was it, about 7 months after September 11th. And my dog had disowned me and claimed my wife. And so without a lot of details, the two of us still slept in a single bed back then because we were very skinny and, newlywed. Anyway, the dog got in between us and pushed me out of the bed. And then tried to defend his territory.
Right.
And I had a knockdown drag out in the dark with my Doberman, who was at that time a pretty badass dog. He was only about 4 years old. Oh my goodness! So I mean, I
need
get
Meg
it.
I need Meg to find me a puppy. That's what needs to happen. Meg, find me a puppy. That the breeder will take pity on a poor preacher. But
yeah, I need a service dog replacement. But yeah.
I think my next dog. I wanted my next dog to be a Belgian, but I think probably my next dog is probably going to be a livestock guardian dog.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do. You kind of have to pick a line. My Belgian, he got along with our Doberman just fine after a while. After a couple of times. But a lot of Belgians won't get along with other breeds, so it can be a challenge. It's not the Belgian thing as much as it's just a strong drive working dog doesn't always get along with anybody who even slightly challenges them.
Yeah. I know that I know that Shar-Peis are not classified as working dogs, but they were bred to guard over the emperor's children. They were originally guard dogs, and so they would, and our dogs absolutely would herd Trip around, and when he was a baby, and God be with the person that they didn't know coming into the house approaching the child. But
Alligator does that well too. Yeah.
And so we really liked that a lot. I used to, we used to kind of get frustrated with Holly because she would just go berserk until like she knew somebody was supposed to be there, and then I realized, wait, this dog is doing what she's supposed to do. Like, this is great, But when you're a pastor and your house has always got visitors, and and you got 30 people in your living room to watch football on a Sunday. I know you can't relate to this, but I mean, like, that's not your
not my house. No,
that's not your style. That's not your style, but it's my style. And so when you live in a tiny rural community and your wife bakes the best pizza in town, and or you make the best barbecue in town, and people come over to watch football and eat food, it's like, ugh, having a dog that wants to eat everyone it doesn't know is a little bit of a problem.
Only for those who get eaten.
Oh, it's true. It's a very, very good point.
I never had problems with your dog.
No, yeah. Well, I never had problems with Tate. Tate liked me, which what you said was very rare.
It is.
So that's cool.
And he never once snuck up behind and bit you.
Not one time.
Not once. And that's
he snuck up. Well, in fact, I remember the day we were working on your truck, and he snuck up behind me and put the top of his head in my hand, and then I just like standing there petting him, and you looked up and went, "Oh, that doesn't happen." Like, I got the mojo, man. I got the mojo.
Yeah. Usually, you kind of keep an eye on him. You see him start sneaking up behind someone. You go, Tate, leave it.
Because you're about to lose the tiniest chunk out of your buttocks.
mean glare, and then he walks away.
But I was
Disgusts
gonna,
at you visually.
bite him, Dad. What's your problem?
Yep. Yeah, I know.
All right, back to a couple more current events, man.
Alrighty. What's
What
happening
are
currently?
um
Hmm.
are you seeing anything? Have you seen any reports, both out of overseas stuff and or locally that has been sparking your interest and or attention?
Nope.
No.
No, I
You,
see a little bit of a stagnation period, and that's good. We need a break. The world is about the same. The same bad things are still happening.
right.
The same real estate crash is still happening. The same financial things are still happening. The bottom is not dropped out on precious metals yet. It's still doing its little up down,
Yeah.
but 2 to 3% on
Yep.
up and down. So none of those are an indicator. The indicator will be like an 8 to 10%. It'll be a big change.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
so
supposedly, I saw multiple, and I mean, I would cite a source, except for, I mean, it was like well over 10 economists this week
uh-huh.
were absolutely forecasting what you and I have been talking about for 5 or 6 months, and that is that January 23 is absolutely going to be a recession. Like there's like that's the that's going to be the calling number. Like by January 23, you better have what you need in place. You better be where you want to be for the long term. You better try to have your debt in manageable positions. And if you cannot, it's going to get really ugly.
I suggest everybody does that by the end of June.
I totally agree.
I'll make the
Because
call
then,
now. End of June is the safer bet. Don't because some economies have already collapsed.
right.
Um,
Oh yeah.
Significant portions of our country are in recession right now. We're just
Yes.
starting to get the first indicators. We
Yes.
won't get first quarter numbers until about June or
Right.
July.
Right.
And so, but the reality is it's already happened. So,
Well, the reality is that the inflation is so much worse. I mean, they were
it
they
is
were they were projecting 4, and then it was like, no, it's 8, and then it was 8, and we were like, it's 10, and
11
now
to
it's
12.
like it's 11 or 12, like real,
Yeah.
like not speculative, like it
Last
just
year.
is.
And
Yeah.
it has gained, it has gained momentum. So it is the first quarter numbers when we finally get them in July. If they don't hide them
Right.
until fourth quarter, which they might do,
They might.
uh, they're going to look even worse. I totally expect that we're going to find first quarter of 2022 somewhere in the neighborhood of 13 to 16% inflation.
Yeah.
And I think second quarter is going to shape up to be worse than the first quarter.
I think that there's a
Oh.
real strong possibility. I think
And
there's
that's what I'm watching, live pricing. And again, I work with an economist, so
yeah, you do. You absolutely do. I mean, I would on it just based on your experience. I mean, I would call you an economist in the scale of that you have more expertise in the field than I do, certainly, and
I
than
only
most
took 2
people.
econ classes, so I will never call myself an economist, but
Well, yeah,
but
but
but I
you
work with
lived it.
someone who
Yeah.
did econ at the graduate level, so
Right. Right. Exactly. No, you're no,
and her
you're not
undergrad
wrong.
was econ.
You're not wrong.
Um, yeah. She forgot
So
more in the games that they played in econ club than I know about.
So let's talk a little bit. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about
Uh,
that without you getting in too deeply to, obviously I'd never ask you to give official financial advice, like all the things that we got to say to keep the lawyers at the tube of views happy, like in your opinion, based on the road that we're about to walk down, I mean, talk a little bit about what we're going to see roll out as far as property values go, and what's going to happen in the housing market, because you were talking about the crash is still coming. We want to hear a little bit more about that.
in some markets, the crash has already happened. Um, Certainly so we're primarily my experiences in the commercial world. Um, there are some commercial markets, so office space, for instance,
Right.
and in some markets like Portland, for instance, anywhere that played COVID games and sent office workers home to work from home,
Right.
um, for the most part, those markets have severely crashed, a year and a half ago, and they're not forecasted to come back. Most of them have already gone back. Ones that were going to foreclose have foreclosed, and conversions, which is a change in the use, that's already been initiated for a bunch of them. So they changed space. A lot of it went to medical. So
Okay.
medical expanded like crazy because it just has been for the last 5 years.
Right.
Um, it's interesting that the model of medical has gone from large hospitals and small clinics that support the hospitals to everybody spreading out into smaller clinics, all over, because the large model is just failing utterly. There's a whole um, brand of people like me that won't go to them or can't go to them, and are seeking alternatives in the small office. And there's a whole brand of doctor that lost its job and lost their practice because they didn't believe in the socialized medicine that was immediately crammed down everyone's throat, forced with mandates, and they've opened up smaller operations. Although obviously not in places like the examples I'm giving, where you're seeing they've
Right.
moved states, they've moved to
Right.
other states and are opening small practices,
Right.
which I'm going to and paying cash for. So
Good.
some of that changes, right? The nature of that has changed, and it's not going to unchange. For the most part, um, people who were sent home to work from home, the numbers were 20%. I think it's going to end up being closer to 35 or 40% of those
Right.
workers are never returning to the office.
Right.
That just isn't going to be a thing anymore. The work from home will happen forever. Working remotely has been finally embraced full strength.
Yeah.
Um, and there are people that are saying that somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 12% of our country's workforce is now a remote workforce. And I think that's a way conservative number. If you told me it was 16 to 18%, I would believe it. 20 might be pushing it, but I think that's an overwhelmingly positive thing. I
Yeah.
think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
So, a lot of workers that got frustrated, whether it was for low pay or incorrect benefits, right, or just the failing of the corporate structure the way it used to be,
Sure.
have just figured out a new way of making money.
Right.
So, a lot of young entrepreneurs, lots of based businesses, lots of do-it-yourselfers, side hustles that became permanent hustles. The face of employment in our country has changed, and our statistics and models for reporting it have not caught up. And so we don't even know the full breadth yet of how
Yeah.
much that has changed.
Right.
Overwhelmingly, it's a good thing, but it's change that's hard and we don't understand. So, when it comes back to real estate values, because the face of business and the face of our nature of our workers and our country has changed, the
Right.
real estate value is going to change to fit that. There are places like Texas that have done nothing but skyrocket in value, and that's going to continue to happen. There are places like Idaho that have done nothing but skyrocket in value, and that's going to continue to happen.
Yeah.
Um, then there are places like Oregon where they have left that there's this artificial impression that the economy is super hot, but it's
Right.
just because of the amount of sales,
Sure.
and a lot of uh, a lot of stuff has gone dark.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when you go down the street and you see empty buildings, empty signs, for lease, for sale, if you see anything more than 20% of your area, commercial area with those signs, you are in a depression. That area is depressed and is in
Right.
a recession.
Right.
If you see anything more than 15 to 20% of the residential doing that, right? As you go down the street, if there are 3 for sale signs on a block of 10 houses, that's a
Yeah.
depressed area.
So can you unpack for, I mean, me too. I've always kind of wondered, like, the primary difference between we always read about, in the history books, the Great Depression. What's the primary difference between a depression and a recession?
Oh, recessions are meant to be 3 to 5-year blips, and depressions are longer in length. Um,
Okay.
Recessions can be key segments or multiple segments of a type of you know type of, not just types of business, but type of market. So whether
Right.
it's residential markets or commercial, industrial, whatever,
Right.
commodities. Depression is all or most of them have significantly dropped in and not necessarily value, but activity. So
Right.
real estate values don't really fluctuate a lot. Um, what happens is they stagnate.
Okay.
So depression or a recession is typically a stagnated, right? Recession is rapidly going down. Depression is the bottom, hopefully.
Got it. Okay.
And it's a stagnation period of
Yeah.
maybe some more bad things are happening, but it's really done happening.
Yeah.
Um, Everything's just bad for a
Right.
while. And it
Right.
takes time for people to either retool or rebrand or die off
Sure.
before things change for the better. There's
Sure.
artificial things that we can do to help aid those along. We can go to war
Right.
and
Oh,
ramp up
imagine
the
that.
types of company, um,
A government can
or
hide its bad
the
financial
government.
dealings by going to war? What?
Yeah, right. We're glitching. One of the things that can happen too is the government can go into massive debt and take a chance and print money
Right.
and influx it into the local economies or the private sector to stimulate things, right? And so we saw that with the Hoover Dam workers that were working for federal
Sure.
programs.
Sure.
Um, that can be a way to kind of jumpstart an economy and get it back on as well. But I mean, what's going to happen to this one? What are we going to do here? We're already kind of there. We predicted this when Trump took office. We said, look, we're going to have 4 to 5 years of good times.
Yep.
And then whether he gets reelected or not,
Right.
there's going to be a stagnation period where hopefully we're going to stagnate at good times for a couple of years because he gets
Right.
reelected 2 to 3 years, right?
Yep.
And then no matter what, a Democrat's going to get elected and they're going to try to undo everything that Trump did. And then we'll have about a year of a honeymoon while we're still benefiting from the things of it from a Trump economy.
Which we did.
And then there will be a massive crash and probably a jump into socialism unless we can fight it. And it just depends on how much the nation can rise together and stop what the Democrats are doing to our country to destroy literally every facet of it. So we'll see. Midterm elections are coming. Nobody expects them to win except for those of us that know that none of our elections are free and fair anymore. So they're probably going to win anyway.
Well, and I was talking to
Mm.
a guy that's trying desperately to run for U.S. State Senate, or U.S. Senate. Let me say it correctly.
Yeah,
He's a family member. He's a family member of a faithful watcher, so I don't want to name him unless he gives me permission to name him, and maybe we can even talk him come on the show. But he, I kind of cornered him on it because he was talking about running on election integrity and those kinds of things, and I'm like, well, so if we think that there's a election integrity problem, and you're saying that specifically Oregon hasn't elected a conservative governor since Oregon went to mail-in ballots in the 80s, then how is this going to be different? Like what's changed? They control all of it.
Think you can win?
What makes you think you can win? Kind of thing. So we'll see. We'll see.
Did he ever sponsor? Hope and prayers.
Yeah, I mean, I think his response was a good one in the context of like we can't quit trying. We can't just roll over. The more we try, the more evident it becomes, and I think this is the one. And I was asking one of my friends who's very active in politics here. I said, is this the one? Like it's so glaringly obvious that things are going to flip and things are going to change and things are going to go a different direction. So when it doesn't, is this the one where we can say the system is fully and completely and forever broken so that we can start approaching the conversation differently. And he's, well, you got to have hope. And it's like, okay, I get it. Hope is not a strategy though. Like hope is not a plan. Like I'm with you, but I want to know what the plan is, So like I want to have hope. I'm a pastor. You're a pastor. We want to be hopeful people. But my hope isn't in man. My hope isn't in man's systems. My hope is in the gospel. My hope is in Jesus. My hope is in the fact that one day our soon and coming King is going to return and make all things new. And, and I won't have to worry about leftists anymore. Because they'll either get loose or get lost. They'll either get loose or get lost at that point.
It remind me, my wife was asking me some questions. She's getting pretty interested in nuclear fallout. I have a very small exposure to that just because most people in the military get some training in that.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's good or right. It's just what we know. Anyway, she was asking about, I guess there's some reports of the Russians are kind of backing off of Chernobyl because they're all getting radiated. So they've been there.
Oh, they lost like 200
radiation people.
Yeah, they were having them dig in at Chernobyl. They were having them dig into radioactive.
This is what my wife was telling me.
Yeah, this is crazy.
So she was asking about that, and I said, basically, one, it's a little bit funny because only Russians would have not heard or know about Chernobyl, right? No other sane person in the entire world. There's probably people in Somalia that if they were told to dig in around Chernobyl, would be like, you mean like a quarter mile from here?
Right.
You don't mean actually here, right? Like,
right.
So she's like, so how long is that going to be? And I'm like, till Jesus comes back and heals it. Scientists can guess it, 1,000 years, 100 years, or whatever. Nah,
makes all things new
until Jesus comes back and heals the land.
That's right.
And there's like exactly 5 or 6 other sites in the world that are just like it.
Yeah, 100%.
So
no, that's exactly right. Yeah,
we have one in our country as well, but
yeah, we do. We also have
a bunch of small ones, but
we have a bunch of small ones. There's one on the way. Well, and they've done a really good job of hiding it. There's a no more town between like Rolla and Springfield, or no, between Rolla and St. Louis, Missouri. And when I was a kid, you could drive by and you would see the whole town off to the it would have been to the north of highway I-44. And there's just houses and buildings and it was all just like apocalyptically overgrown, and like there's just like leaves that leaves and trees and weeds. Like it looked like a wasteland movie. And I was like asking my dad, I'm like, what's going on? Like those houses look kind of nice, and they're, and there was evidently some like really horrific chemical spill that has left that completely bereft, like to the point where they didn't even want to go in and take the buildings and structures down because it was all like permeated by this like really awful stuff. And so I think they just built a big, like really pretty, like median wall across like the, like, so you can't see the town just like devolving into nothing. Like I'll try to maybe I could get some drone footage next time I'm visiting my family.
Sneak in there and video and camp, right?
Probably local kids are like, let's go to the ghost town. Well, in fact, hey, didn't we just watch one of those episodes of Beards and Bikers, or Bikers and Beards? They took their little like scooters into one of those kind of towns, and they rode like off. The road had all been chopped up and reprodded, and they like rode their little scooters in and into this like abandoned radioactive town. Did you see that one?
No.
Oh yeah, that's good. Well, you're into that show, that channel, right?
Yeah,
a little bit. Okay, I like him.
I think I like him as a person.
They're Jesus people. Makes me happy.
Yeah,
and they do silly things with copious.
That's about where it stops for me.
Yeah. I like how they like buy cool bikes and then they test them and then they give them away. And then they buy trash bikes and destroy them. I think it's fun.
Yeah, American chopper bikes and trash on the choppers and
yeah. So
trash on the OCC.
We were it's funny, we talk about kind of trash vehicles. but then it was so
Yeah.
funny. I was having a conversation with a buddy, and I'm
Speaking of,
glad
you're a
we.
Toyota guy.
Hey, I like Toyotas; those are cool. But I was talking to a dear friend of mine today. His name's Randy. He lives in Colorado, and we were talking about like just old memories. We both grew up with the Chevy Love pickup trucks. Those itty bitty, like smaller than an S10, like like roller skate, except for the one that I
I had
grew
a
up with.
D50, so I get it.
Yeah. So the one that I grew up with was a diesel 4-wheel drive Chevy Love, and I was like, if I could find one of those for my son,
Be a jam.
like,
Yeah.
oh man, a diesel Chevy Love 4-wheel drive, and my buddy was like, that would be like the perfect apocalypse vehicle. No computers, no
Diesel back then ran
circuitry.
on anything. It
Diesel
burned
ran
just
on.
about anything.
They would run basically on anything. 4-wheel drive. The thing was a mountain goat. I swear it would have climbed a tree if I'd asked it to.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, man. It would be so rad to have one of those trucks right now to just sock away and just put it in a shop and just start rebuilding it. You know, my kid is going to be, 16 in 3.5 years. Gag. We shaved this week, Phil. We shaved this week, buddy. Like it was, he was starting to get, he's got some brown blood in him. I'm just going to say that. He's got some brown blood in him. And he started getting the mustache, dude. And it was starting to get funky looking. I'm like, you got to earn
uneven fuzz is like
uneven fuzz, dude. Like you got to handle that. You got to handle that. Like we got to get that off of there. My nephew started shaving this week too. Kind of made me want to throw up.
Get in on the new Daily Wire shave club.
I'm going to. I am absolutely going to. I just bought him one of those little tiny electric ones, that like, cause he just was knocking the fuzz down. When it's really stubble, we'll get the lather out and we'll do the razors and stuff. But I'm absolutely going to join him to the, is it harrysucks.com? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think something like that. It's pretty good. Jeremy Boring is, I
Jeremy's razors.
That was last week.
Right.
This week he did it to Disney.
Oh, did he do it to Disney? That's right. They started children's. They started a children's entertainment company, didn't they?
Network. They are making good old
$60 million he invested in that.
I think it was $100 million. I don't know. It might have been 16 of his own. I believe it's $100 million. Yeah, look, we're done. We're tired of trying to get along with people that are sexualizing and grooming our children.
Yep.
And there's no safe. You kids can't even watch Disney movies anymore. They're not safe.
Did you
which I've been saying for a long time. Long time. I mean,
in response to all of that Ron DeSantis is considering removing Disney's special governance that they are able to govern themselves.
That would be awesome.
Dude, I would just be like,
I would support that.
Oh, dude, it'd be amazing.
That's right. Well, and what that means then, law enforcement personnel, they can no longer disarm you at the park.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That would be an excellent move. It's one of the major reasons I won't go to a Disney park.
Oh yeah. No, I got no need to go back there.
They will not assume. They do not adequately pick up your personal security where you're no longer allowed to have it. So
that's right. I do not wish or consent to outsource my personal security. Thank you.
I will to people that can prove that they adequately can do it.
Sure.
And for many years, I believed that Disney could, but I don't anymore because they don't have, my best interest at heart anymore. I think they did as a company at some point.
The only reason I would say that the only reason I could say that they can is I know people who have deep concealment carried into the parks, and they have been identified, and it's like
never made it.
They never made it in. And they were like, "No, sir. We know that you have, a gun on your right ankle. We know that you have an inside the waistband."
We're talking cops. I mean, active duty people.
I think they're scanning. I think there's active scanning going on, and so digital scanning. So
I don't think they even hide it, other than they just don't want to give away their trade secrets. But yeah,
they don't want to give away their trade secrets. Yeah.
Sure.
So I mean, so in the realm of that, everyone is being equally disarmed when they walk through the door. Okay, maybe you're handling my personal security well, but that only works until it doesn't.
Yeah, it's only so much.
We don't have any evidence of
Firearms are
any
not
active shooters
firearms
at
are not the
Disney.
threat. No, it's not shooting, but violent crime. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
Violent
yeah, that
crimes, rape.
happens. Absolutely, 100%.
In
Yeah,
fact, the Disney employee just recently was prosecuted for
I'm
raping a child in
I'm
the park.
fairly difficult. I'm fairly difficult to. But anyway, never mind. Um.
Yeah, and it's hard to rape the willing, but
Oh no. Oh no, dude. Bunker. Uh, so, no, I just don't, it goes back to giving money to people who hate my guts, that they despise
I'm
the things that
down
I
with that.
believe. They
No.
despise the things that I believe. They despise the God that I serve and worship. They despise, who I am as a human being.
They
And
reward those who hate me.
they reward those who hate me. I just don't have any desire to give them any of my money. I mean,
Nope. They don't get my views. They don't get my anything.
yeah, it's very, very, very
And
frustrating.
if Florida was to shut it all down and kick them out of the state, I would donate to their campaign.
See, I don't think they would ever shut them down and kick them out of the state. I think there's
No,
too much
because we don't believe in doing things like that, like liberals do. Liberals do that.
Yeah, liberals do that.
We don't do that.
We don't do that. But giving them carte blanche say of how to govern their. I mean, right now Disneyland is, honest to goodness, almost like a separate company or a separate country.
Sovereign lands,
Yeah,
as if they are another country. Correct.
Yeah.
Like
it's like
they're
UN.
worse than Pinkerton. Right. Yeah.
They're worse.
Well,
than what?
because at some point somebody gave it to them. Somebody agreed to it and allowed it at some point.
Right.
But
well, when it was given over, it was like that. Walt Disney was like, "Hey, can I have special governance of this swamp? Like, it's just is just the mosquito-ridden
the original vision of Epcot.
Right.
It was the city of the future. It wasn't meant to be a theme park.
Right. It was the city of the future.
To make. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't watched that document, it's amazing. It's
I haven't watched the documentary, but I've heard about it. What's it called?
I don't know.
Is it on one of the streaming services that hates me?
I watched it, so probably not.
Okay. I didn't know if you watched it pre.
I don't own Netflix, and I don't own Disney Plus, and I don't do Paramount, and I don't do any of those.
So
I am still on Amazon because it comes with my.
Yeah, I don't have to pay extra for it. I've got to have Prime.
And I have HBO because it comes for free also from my cell phone.
Your phone company. Yeah.
Right. But back when it cost money for HBO, we would do it like once a year for December.
The only reason
and then shut it off.
The only reason we still have Disney Plus is because it comes with our phone bill. So it's like, and
I would probably even remove it at this point. I probably would still remove it because the last time I saw the program, all the good old fashioned stuff, Swiss Family Robinson, and things like that you would watch your old Yeller. I was having a hard time finding them if they were even on there.
Oh no, they're there. No, they rectified that, but they've all got warnings on them. They've all got warnings on them, man. It's so funny. You turn on Davy Crockett, and then there's like there is smoking and racial, it's comical. It's comical. Like, it's like, dude, you can't have it both ways, man. It's like either bad or it's
sort of
good.
Funny until it's just not funny anymore, though.
It's true.
Woke bullshit is just not funny anymore.
It's true. Well, we've got a denomination steeped in it, so.
Yeah, interesting email from them
yesterday. Yeah, it was funny. Oh, I don't trust it. I'm not reaching out.
I can read between the lines enough, but no. Too little, too late.
Too little, too late. That's exactly what I say too. Too little, too late.
The reality is they're perpetuating what they are stating that they're no longer going to do. They're actually doing worse now. It doesn't. Yeah.
Honest to goodness, right now. So when we talk about prepping and then we and then we slide off into these conversations about the degradation of the church and things like that. Honest to goodness, the movement that you and I are associated with, we have little cards in our wallets, right? You know, they will be a piece of the state-run church when things totally flip over. When they need a church, that's part of the propaganda machine, you know, that preaches the political agenda, like the Romanian Orthodox Church became for Ceausescu when Nicolae Ceausescu, took Romania as a communist state. It was one of the only communist countries that allowed the church to exist. Okay, Russia was tearing their buildings down. China is tearing their buildings down actively today. By the way, the people we try to buy stuff. They're
literally murdering Christians in the street. But
they aren't even hiding it anymore, right? We just our leftist woke news media, they just won't report on it. So, but Romania had a very interesting tact. They came in and Ceausescu was like, no. We're going to leave the Romanian Orthodox Church intact. We want you guys to succeed. And then he called every priest, every leader of the church. I don't remember what the Romanian Orthodox Church calls them. Every one of their leaders called them in and was like, listen, you'll teach what we tell you to teach. You'll preach what we tell you to preach. You'll communicate the information we want you to communicate, or we will kill you and replace you with somebody who will. So they would literally go to church on Sunday morning and sing songs to the great leader, not to Jesus. They would go and they would hear sermons over, extolling the beliefs of the comrade, right? Not the beliefs of Jesus and the church. And I truly believe, and feel free to push back or tell me I'm going too far, the movement that you and I are associated with.
It happened again in Germany, so that it wouldn't happen here. No, of course it will. And in some ways it already has.
It already has.
And I can explain very briefly how it happens is when you live in the world of lukewarm,
right?
And for those who read the Bible, they understand that term, what that means. But even if you don't, think of something that is lukewarm, a slight
what happens when your coffee gets lukewarm?
Yeah. A slight increase, gradual increase. Now we're talking about the frog, right? The frog in the pot slowly warming up. Because if you start at lukewarm and jump in, you're there. But if you're full hot or full cold, you notice those temperature changes immediately.
Absolutely.
And right now, we are a part of a lukewarm generation of Christians in this country, and the majority of the Christian churches or churches who profess to be Christ following are very lukewarm. We have another word for lukewarm. We call it woke.
Right.
They're the same thing. So if you live in a world of pacifism and lukewarmness, you are perpetuating in a part of wokeness. And you have already rejected Christ, and he's going to spit you out as well.
Correct.
So, and you'll never even notice because you keep just slowly eroding away and getting warmer and warmer and warmer, and you're just not even noticing because you've already compromised your faith.
Yeah. And I might actually go one step further than that. I don't know that woke would be lukewarm.
Go ahead,
I think woke might actually be the cold. Now, if I use coffee that might be hard to wrap your mind around if I use coffee as illustration, because I like cold coffee and I like hot coffee. I don't like the coffee that's just sitting at room temperature in my in my cup that I got distracted and got away from.
Flaccid tepidness.
Yeah. Flaccid tepidness. Okay, but I think the woke culture has gone so actively evil that
they couldn't exist until it got warm enough to match their temperature.
They create, yes, there it is. They've created the environment to create the lukewarmness, and then they basically just drug it into the fridge. It was the slow cooling, and so now it's the group that says it's okay to firebomb low-income housing and burn families out of their homes to make a political point. right? Which is, by the way, the same thing that
Well,
the
that's how
ball
they kill
knobbers
babies.
and
It
the
started by killing
Klan did.
babies, but yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah,
started that way,
sure.
but now, I mean, last summer they were burning down low income housing, during their stupid riots, and when the three letter agencies were just or agencies, three letter organizations were burning down inner city housing and targets and sheriff's departments and all those
Yep.
things. Like, I mean, it's
But
it's
we've
it's
discovered that I'll just say the incompetent Bureau of Investigation was right smack in the middle of it. We have found
all of it. They announce on that to this week very, very
card
quietly.
carrying officers involved in so many of these crimes now.
Yep.
Federal officers involved in I mean, it didn't start. It happened at Ruby Ridge,
Right.
and they cooled for a couple of years, we think maybe, or we just weren't paying attention. I don't know, but
Right.
they initiated and were involved in the plot to kidnap the governor, right?
Well, back
Of
up. You said
Dakota.
Ruby Ridge. Let's keep on the track and go to Waco. They
Go
were
ahead.
absolutely that scenario. That was 100%. Was David Koresh an evil, maniacal cult leader that was sexually abusing women and children? 100%. Did that
We think
justify the
so.
feds in
Now it's
murdering
hard to know how
children?
much propaganda was in place there, but people who were there have said he was a really bad dude, that's for sure. We're not
Yeah.
gonna defend him.
No, not going to
Um,
defend him. Not
it
ever. Not even a little bit.
No, not
Guy
not
claimed
gonna
to be
try.
Jesus. He wasn't Jesus. Period.
Turned
But
out.
that did not justify the federal government murdering women and children
To get to him.
to get to him.
Yeah, yeah. And he
Period.
really wasn't a threat to them either, is the thing. A delusional man is not a threat to the federal government like he
They
was. He was in the middle of
they could have
nowhere
hooked
hurting
him.
nobody.
They could have
Well,
hooked him in
turns out
100
he was
different
hurting
ways.
somebody, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
back
yeah,
to
no.
so I just add Waco, Ruby Ridge, Waco. The
Yeah,
plot to
sure.
kidnap the governor. Those
Yeah.
were federal agents. That was a
Well, and
false
then
flag.
multiple buildings. So while we had these teenage idiots running around, committing racist crimes, with their hands held high like this, um, we have been finding federal officers that initiated fires and
Absolutely.
burning on
Absolutely.
the side. So you want to know
Absolutely.
local police officers being attacked? Oh, you refuse to join us and federalize your deputies? Weird how your station burned down.
Weird.
Weird.
Weird how your station burned down. And then you've got the opposition force, right? Was being led by a Fed too. I mean, they were absolutely
The
inflaming.
Proud Boys.
Yeah.
Everybody understands by now that, a card-carrying federal officer
Was running the show.
first, second in command, running the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the first guy was
a full informant
known
on
snitch.
the
He
on the
was a
tank.
narc. He'd been a narc since before Proud Boys started.
Yep.
It was all fabricated, and
was
a couple of us
all
were kind of screaming the whole time. This all
Yes,
looks
we were.
pretty fake.
So all
I
looks
know I
pretty
was.
fake.
For the last
Yeah.
2.5 years, I've been saying, that's fake and that's fake. And what are they doing while we're all paying attention to this fake war happening?
Kind of like a television program that happened recently that got the world talking about a condition called alopecia. The primary sponsor of that television program was a
Are you
company
serious?
called Pfizer, who is in stage 3 testing for a
But to
drug
be
to
fair,
treat alopecia.
Pfizer funds like 80% of every liberal cause. So
But they were the
throw a stick
primary
and try to find something
sponsor.
that they're not That's crazy, though.
They were the primary sponsor for a show that got a lot of publicity for alopecia, and they are in stage 3 testing for a drug to treat
All right.
alopecia.
I will bring the voice of reason here, and you can agree with me very quickly, because it makes total sense that the partially scripted joke routine, right,
Yep.
would have involved make a joke about baldness somewhere, and then
Right.
Chris had to find a way to make a joke. We're not saying that Pfizer somehow hired Will Smith. I don't think that happened at all. What you saw there was just the the straw that broke the camel's back on a man who's been completely demasculated.
Oh,
Um,
he had his giblets cut off, man. There's no getting
what
around that.
happened was spontaneous, and I do not believe for 1 second that it was at least on Will's part, was not pre-planned.
No.
And what you saw was a mental collapse
Correct.
on television,
Correct.
and it's sad. Joe Rogan called it exactly perfect, actually.
I think so too.
Jocko, same thing.
Yep.
Weird. People with their heads on could see right through it. Anybody who specializes in mental illness could stare at that and go, dude snapped. He snapped. And the bigger man there was Chris Rock, who I hate to defend a guy I don't like or whatever, but how he handled it afterwards. Let's just say once it got through his brain, oh, I crossed the line, then I really hurt somebody personally. He could have done so many things. He is a capable, sarcastic person.
Oh yeah,
in destroying people.
He could have taken,
taken
him
100
apart.
jokes. Yeah.
Yeah.
He saved
absolutely.
their show, which I could give a shit about. He saved Will Smith from further.
If Will Smith had not slapped Chris Rock, I never would have even known the Oscars were on.
None of us would have even known it happened.
Could care less.
Even from the joke, nobody would have known it happened.
I'm sorry. I'm a professional communicator.
Although to be fair,
I couldn't
Daily
Wire
still would have had 10 stupid stories about tweets. I swear, for a conservative news station that says they are going to make our own brand of everything, they just cannot get off of Twitter, and that
they get sucked in. Supposedly Musk and Jeremy were having a conversation about starting a nuke.
Serious, isn't he? No,
yeah.
But no, that's gonna probably happen. I think they were waiting to see if Trump could do it, and Trump's kind of failed utterly at it. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I think Trump yet again trusted the wrong people. Yeah, he's already moved on. It's a dead platform. He lets things die. He'll let things die and walk away from it. No question about it.
Oh, that's not gonna pencil. Moved on.
Not gonna work. Bye.
Musk will do it better. He'll do it well. It'll be entertaining. I'll be a part of it. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely, I will.
That'll be great. And if you're on Starlink, it'll be connected.
Right?
Hopefully. It'll be the one platform that can't get removed from Starlink.
Right? That'd be cool.
No, I'm
not saying that Pfizer hired Will Smith. I truly,
I just wanted to clarify for some people.
Truly believe that Will Smith actually slapped the living dog crap out of Chris Rock. Now,
I think he held back, and he thought it was a measured slap, but
I think it was a measured slap, but I still think he slapped him for real, and he meant it, But but I mean, I'll say, because there's everybody's like, whoa, he flinched right before. Well, yeah, with any kind of reactionary timing at all, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna try to get out of the way, And
I'm not sure if Chris Rock thought maybe he was gonna just basically play a joke, right? Come in and slap him, maybe slap him,
push him, like get up there, take the microphone. He was going
to launch into a whole series of jokes at that point.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But no, it was a real slap. I mean, for those who say, oh, he beat him and whatever, no, it was a slap.
And that was why it was a measured response for me, because I had people blow me up, because I saw the Guardians.
Should have been arrested. I'm not into that at all. I'm not into this like press charges, assault charges. Yeah, you know what? The world needs to kind of grow up.
Right. And I saw some talking heads that were like, no, I would have sued him for $200 million instantly. I wouldn't press charge. You're like, dude, whatever. That's shut ridiculous. Up. It's an open-handed slap. In some states, it's barely even registered as assault, because if there's no damage done and you were not in fear for your life, it's not assault. So right. I mean, and he didn't split.
If there was no bruise,
he didn't break. Yeah. If there was no bruise, if there was no split lip, if there was no broken nose, he didn't throw him to the ground and kick him in the ribs.
It's enough for a restraining order. It's enough for some sort of you leave me alone action. Sure.
Not in Oregon. Not in
Oregon. But in Oregon, you can molest your children and go there's all sorts of things that are legal in Oregon.
How hard you have to work to get a protection order in this state.
Play along with the whole children acting like they're another thing. And the schools will probably even slip them transgender drugs, and nobody will tell the parents. So,
there's a strange possibility.
Get out of Oregon.
Yeah, well,
get out of Oregon.
As soon as
they
Lord
want your
tells me,
kids.
You know my rules.
No, I know
you
you're.
know my rules. As soon as the Lord
I
tells me
got
to
you.
go, we're gone, and we won't be here for
I
5
certainly
minutes
would never
longer.
have a child in public school in Oregon. That's
Never
for
again.
sure.
My kid will never
No.
attend
There
the
might be a
communist.
school. No, there's probably none. There's none left. There's nowhere to go because even if you have a couple good teachers,
Even if we were still in
there's
Lakeview,
none left in the admin staff and the
even if
state. You
even
can't.
if we were still in Lakeview, my child will
No,
never go to an Oregon public school again. Never gonna happen.
no.
Even if we were still in Lakeview, and Lakeview has a lot of really great teachers and a lot of conservative Jesus following teachers, and I would not let him contribute to the financial institution that is the Oregon public school system. I'm just no, not gonna happen.
No.
You know, if God calls us to a state where that supports and believes in freedom, we might consider it again. But as of now,
It's
we're
a tough
still in
call
we're
because even
still
the
in Oregon.
conservative places, the admin and the federal money and all that has affected the system. It's like a lot of law enforcement. There's so much federal money. It's really, really hard to maintain your integrity anymore. It's hard to
Absolutely.
find. There are some that do. They refuse the federal money. They're very careful. They understand the strings that are attached, right? But it's not the majority anymore.
It's so difficult for me because here's the story. Okay, so everybody rails against the militarization of the police force, and I get it. I understand.
It's a
But
this and that, yeah.
but I also bleed blue, right? I bleed blue, right? I mean, that's a gift. That was a gift from officers that I served and loved. You know,
Got my then blue line microphone out if you can tell.
yeah, it does show up blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
You and I've got blue everywhere.
We got
'Cause
blue
we do
everywhere,
bleed
man. We got
We
blue.
both
I got my
serve in a capacity that costs us money.
my behind the badge devotional that I read on a regular basis. I chaplain. I've got a ride along schedule for Sunday night, right? You know, and it's so I bleed blue. Okay, here's the thing. The bad guys are fully equipped with body armor and assault weapon. No, there's no such thing as an assault weapon, but you know, fully automatic weapons. You know, and I believe that
And
law
that's just the
enforcement should.
FBI.
And that's just the FBI.
And
You
the
know, but
IRS and the ATF.
the tweakers and the cartel members and the, you know,
Certainly could tell. Yeah.
those guys, you know, they are equipped with the best of weaponry. And I want to see our law enforcement guys and gals be
Win.
equipped with the best weaponry and the best armor and the best equipment that they can get.
I want them to win and I want them to go home.
I want them to win, and I want them to win ruthlessly until it is, you know, to quote Jeff Cooper, right? You know, support Colonel Cooper. You know, I want them to win, and I want them to win ruthlessly, right? But where it starts to stress me out, you know, I love our police
I
department.
get declared to be the bad guy.
But I know that our city did not write a check for the MRAP that they have. You know, you know, it's oh, Meg, thank you. You're sweet. That's very kind of you. Yeah, we try really hard, you know.
We're not keeping our forms. It was that was just to preface. We are law enforcement supporters.
We're law enforcement supporters, and we're law enforcement servants, and we want to be, and we want to continue to be.
Where our mouth is.
But I know that our city did not write the check for that MRAP. We got that because we were willing to bow to the federal government and took funding that then allowed us to buy that MRAP. And for those of you guys who don't know, that's an armored vehicle. You know, military armored vehicle. It's a response and explosive. I mean, like it's like
what we had before we initiated the Stryker brigades. We phased them out for the most part of the military. It was an in between, the short lived, and we built way too many as a country. So we have a huge surplus, and we've been selling them to whoever wants to buy them. A lot of IRS and ATF and FBI have them.
Right. And so for me, it's very important to recognize that there is a militarization of our law enforcement community, and there's two versions of it. I want them to have select fire AR-15s. That'll probably, me saying that will probably get us kicked off of the tube of views, right? You know, I want them to have the weapons. I mean, you look at the Hollywood bank robbery. Go watch the footage from the
Right.
Hollywood bank robbery where they're just dumping, 357 rounds out of revolvers into guys that had automatic guns and full suit body armor, and how many officers got killed that day, and how many officers, were. I mean, it was, and they're dumping, 8 rounds of 45 at a time because they were carrying 1911s, and it's really, really, really important. Meg, what do you got to say here? Let me jump you in here. I work with them all the time, and I see positive impact chaplains make for LE and volunteers and work that you do. Means a lot. Thank you, Meg. Gosh, that means a lot that you see that. A lot of people don't even see it, so means a lot that
it's okay if we're not seeing.
Yeah, it is. I don't need a star on the wall. I just there for thank
the
you.
Attaboys.
But it helps sometimes. Thank you, Meg. That was very kind of you. But yeah. So I want them to have the equipment. You look at the Hollywood shootout. I want them to have the equipment, but I don't want them to be beholden to the federal government because it tips the scales of impartiality. Okay. So I'll give you an example of my life as a pastor.
Well,
okay. So my life as a pastor, I have a rule. Not every pastor has this rule. I would have a hard time serving under or being a part of a church where the pastor didn't have my rule. But I do know good, moral pastors that don't have this rule that I do trust, okay? There's a couple of them. Here's my rule. On the other side of the wall to my left is a computer that I never turn on, that I don't log into. I don't access the information on that computer. On that computer is the giving records of individuals of my church. Okay? So they when they give, I don't know how much they give. I don't know what they give. And because I am a man, because I am a human being, because I have to face temptation, okay? And the temptation I directly face when I know what kind of checks people write is the temptation to show favoritism. James, Jesus's brother, who proclaims the risen Jesus as divine and God of the universe. Okay, James. By the way, it's one of the primary evidences of Jesus. I'm going to be talking a lot about that in a few weeks at Easter time. Is the fact that would have to happen to convince you that your big brother was the Savior and God King of the universe. He'd probably have to die and come back to life, right? So anyway, so James actively condemns the favoritism of showing the wealthy, giving them a preferential treatment, giving them the better seat, giving them the better access to religious services. Paul condemns it in Corinthians when he talks about not letting the rich show up early and drink all the wine for communion. Those kinds of things are a big deal. The Bible condemns showing partiality, and I know that when the federal government starts pumping dollars in, and they don't hide where those dollars come from, they don't protect from where the dollars come from, they have more influence and they have more authority. And we all know that influence is more valuable than authority, right? I hope you know that. They have more influence when they start pumping in those dollars, just like they're doing to our school systems, they're doing to our law enforcement. Like we're going to push
just
in
like
all
they're
these,
doing to our churches.
Just like they're doing to our churches. That's why. Do you think that federal PPE loan would have been helpful to my church during COVID? Absolutely, it would have. It would have supplemented my salary, and I would have had a whole lot more money to access. I would not take it, even though my denomination forced me into a Zoom meeting where it shoved that loan down our throats and basically said, in the next 24 hours, you will fill out this loan document and you will submit it and take these dollars. And I said, click, goodbye. I will not. Yep. I did not submit, and I did not take those federal dollars. I was not going to do it. We could have helped a lot of people with it, but God provided for this church. I didn't need those dollars. God showed up and he handled it. So that's what I would just say. That's what I would say to our law enforcement agencies too, is I would remind them that God can provide for you too, whether you can publicly acknowledge him or not, and be really, really careful what dollars you take and where they come from, because
Be a
the
long
piper will be paid. The piper will be paid.
Oh
And
yeah, they
be
come with
careful.
strings, and they have a very strong string enforcement arm.
Yes, they have a very strong string enforcement arm. That is exactly right. And even if they don't, let's think the best. Even if they don't, even if all they do is go, no more funding for you. How many
That's
officer
usually enough.
positions, how many deputy positions are created?
How many of your friends are going to have to get laid off?
There it is. How many if you look at your local law enforcement agency, there is at least one, if not 3 to 5 positions that were created because of federal grants.
Yep.
And the minute that federal
Usually
grant,
every school position. Yeah.
a lot of school
Every resource
positions,
officer.
there's usually a DUI position. There's usually a
The click it or ticket campaign
there's usually
will
a
pay for tons and
community
tons of shit.
disaster.
Yeah.
There's a FEMA position,
FEMA
that's attached.
position. Yeah.
Especially with sheriff's departments. So you just got to be really, really careful. That's why when we talk about in the community, in the preparedness community, we talk about why sheriff elections are some of the most important
Very
elections
important.
you'll ever vote in. It is the highest law enforcement officer in the land. He's the only one that can stand up to the feds.
Yeah.
Or
It's
she,
why the feds work so hard to keep the state of Alaska from having a sheriff system.
Yes.
They do. Every time
Absolutely.
we talk about it, they just give our state troopers more money. Oh, we'll give you. Oh, you need more money? We'll give you. Oh, you know what? And we'll send you more officers.
Right.
We have more federal law enforcement officers in the state of Alaska than we do private law enforcement officers.
Yeah.
There are more of them than us.
Yeah, that's exactly
It's
right.
not a good thing.
That's exactly right. And I'll just say this, and I know a lot of Christians get a little super weirded out when pastors start talking politics, but I'll tell you what, I don't put presidential signs in my yard. I don't put political signs in my yard. I don't put school board member signs in my yard, although that may be changing soon, because I got to tell you, we got
a school board. I don't yeah.
But I'll say this: I actively get involved. Now, I don't stand in the pulpit. The one thing I will not compromise myself on is I don't stand in the pulpit and go, "You should vote for X," or "You should vote for Y." You should vote.
You should vote.
I will say that from the pulpit. I will say that from the pulpit, loudly and longly. I will say that from the pulpit. But I will say this: I actively encourage people to get involved in local elections, especially sheriff. Donate, serve, pass out cookies and flyers. Get involved in the good one. And that they're going to stand for and fight for the Second Amendment. They're going to stand for and fight for religious freedoms. Because my sheriff here in my county, he specifically said, I will not enforce any of the church closures. If you want to close your church, when they were trying to force us to close before we won a Supreme Court battle over it, they were like, you're closed and we can do these things to you. And my sheriff was like, no, you can't. Not in my county, you can't. And my county actually paid the price for it. We got way more harsh restrictions where I live than a lot of places did, because our sheriff said, no more.
You should have ignored those too, but yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, most of us did, but anyway, I just say all of that because in the preparedness community, if you are prepping, if you are getting ready for hard times, one of the ways that we so often forget to get ready for hard times is supporting local officials that will stand up to the federal government and tell them to pound sand. Especially in the realm of compromising our beliefs, compromising our right to defend ourselves,
showing up at your door and compromising your stash.
A tool on my hip is better than a cop on the phone every single time. Yeah, and will your local law enforcement come and reappropriate your preps to feed the tweakers down at the shelter, down at the FEMA location? You better know who your sheriff is, guys. You better know who your sheriff is. I'm not saying that the feds won't come in and disappear your sheriff.
Well, and you got to support him when he needs the support at election time.
Right.
because believe me, the other side has nationwide support, and they are putting their own sheriffs in charge, and they come with a lot of money. They come with
millions
so
of
much more
dollars.
money. They do.
Soros, Bloomberg, Gates, they are absolutely actively funding sheriff elections. They are actively
Yeah.
stealing sheriff elections.
That's one of the things they did during the racist riots of 2020, is
Yep.
that they would send a little racist crew to make make trouble and influence elections in small towns as well. All
Yeah,
the way from school board to sheriff, like you name it, they do get involved. Yeah.
absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely. So anyway, so that's just another way that you need to get involved. And I'll give you a great example. I'm not going to tell you exactly where I live, but a county over, there was a absolutely fantastically wonderful sheriff was displaced by. They all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, in the middle of the election, he got bombarded by about 10 major lawsuits. And then
one of their
Bloomberg and
favorite
Soros
tools.
absolutely paid to
Fund the
smear
lawsuits.
his name all over the up and down.
Yep.
And there might have actually been some impropriety in how the election got counted. And now
Probably.
and now he was displaced from a county he was the sheriff for like 20 some years, like 20 plus years.
This is
And I call
this is a war
I call
for
them
not just
friend.
our country, it's a
Yeah.
war for the globe. This is a
Yeah.
war for our children, for our families, for our faith. And the other side believes in lying, cheating, and stealing. And far too many people who call themselves Christians are surprised
Right.
that other people lie, cheat, and steal.
Absolutely.
So, far too many people in this country have a very naive view where they think people are inherently good and will inherently not lie, cheat, and steal.
Correct.
And they're just wrong, but
Correct.
they don't want to be wrong because it just crashes their whole paradigm. And it's much easier to just ignore it and,
Correct.
post pictures from Starbucks of your devotion.
There you go.
Another company that hates you.
That hates you. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. They hate your guts. They'd rather see you dead than shop at their store.
You're
But
not
they'll take
making a
your
stand
dollars.
going there and giving them money and drinking their coffee and reading your Bible. That doesn't change them at all. It just gives them more money.
That's awesome.
Hey, let's get into the bunker. I'm ready for some
Yeah.
bunker stuff.
So we're gonna do.
You
We're gonna
can
do
find
it.
us in
We're
Patreon.
gonna do. If you're a patron member, then you will have access behind the velvet ropes, and we'll do a live
I've got some
broadcast.
show and tell.
Yep. Phil's got some show and tell.
Show
I've
the
got some.
backside of some show and tell.
We're gonna talk a little bit about. Some of the preps that I've made this week. I might do a little show and tell too. But I got to show
Nice.
pictures. I can't show the actual thing just yet. But yeah. So give us about a 10-minute break. We're gonna do a reset, and then it takes me for some reason it takes me a little while to be able to broadcast. We'll be right into Patreon. So if you're a Patreon member. And
Yep,
it's
go
not
ahead.
too late to join Patreon. You can join Patreon in the next 10 minutes.
You'll
and,
instantly be able to see it.
And you'll instantly be able to be behind the velvet rope. There will be a post that sends you to a Vimeo link. The Vimeo link will probably ask you a couple of questions. Don't be afraid. We're the only ones that get the information, supposedly. Who
Say
knows?
yes to everything.
Say yes to everything.
Especially
Give us your
money,
social security number. No, I'm
credit
kidding.
cards. Yeah.
So give us 10 or a little bit more than that minutes. We usually take a potty break, refill our water bottles, and then we'll be in the bunker in just a few minutes.
All right. Good show.
We love you guys. Get prepped.
Too late.